all right. We're back, man. Ooh. Ooh, we're back. We're back. It is time once again to chat about good old real wrestling, professional wrestling. So how's it going, man? How you been? Everything good? All good?
Oh yeah, fantastic, brother. Enjoying this these colder days here in Hong Kong. It's been a pretty warm January thus far, but we've had a couple nice chilly days, so I'm really soaking it all in.
Dude, yeah. Same here in Texas. We've had the rain, we've had some cold. It's been a weird. It's just the typical Texas, weather changing all the time here. You just flip a
Yeah.
coin and you'll never know what you'll get. So it just changes. Roll the dice. Roll the dice. So, but yeah, man, it's good to be back. I'm glad we're back chatting. It's been a while since we've talked. I think the last time we talked was it Terrifier. I think it was
Oh
Terrifier
yeah,
2.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Woo. So it's been a minute. So we're due for a good chat about, especially about wrestling. And now, what better way than to chat? We got people in the chat. We got Binkus. We got Dobby here. We got T-Bone. More people trickling on in. So, and tonight we're going to be talking, previewing the WWE 2024 Royal Rumble this Saturday night in Tampa, Florida, at the Tampa Stadium. It should be pretty big. I'm pretty sure it's almost close to a sellout. Last I looked, tickets were
Hmm.
pretty scarce. So, I mean, good on WWE. They're doing good business, man. They are doing pretty good. Um, yeah, it's crazy. So, I mean, we're gonna go into the Rumble in a little bit here, but we definitely want to cover some hot topics in wrestling.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me see. Let's see what we demand. Biscuit. I'm gonna be looking at my chat here periodically, but they want to see the cat. Well, he's here. He's sleeping, so he's gonna be. He might jump up later. So what's going on, Rainbreaker? So yeah, so hot topics in wrestling, man. What have you heard? Have you heard anything? Anything in the news tricklings?
Well, of course, I heard that The Rock came back.
That's
At least
right.
he made it one appearance. I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
it. I think it was on SmackDown.
Yes, yeah. Actually, it was on Raw. He came out on.
Was it on Raw?
Yeah, it was on
Okay.
New Year's Day Raw. He on day one they called it for the first Raw on New Year's Day. He made he just appeared. He was in town. I guess he was. Um, I think he was like an hour out shooting something for ESPN or something, and he showed up on Raw and cut a promo with Jinder Mahal. Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, WWE were teasing. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna have a former champion," and everyone's like, "Oh, who's it gonna be? Who's gonna be that former champion?" And people kept guessing all kinds of names, and people were like, "Oh, it's got to be The Rock," And then, man, WWE with the best troll ever, they threw out Jinder, and it was fantastic. The crowd was so disappointed. It was if you go back and watch the reaction video and you see people having you can see everyone has their phones out and they're waiting and the ring Samantha Irvin, the ring announcer, she's like, "Oh, please welcome a former champion," and suddenly it's just out of nowhere. It's Jinder's music and people just
Major heat.
yeah, you just see the boos and you see people throw their hands up like, "Oh, come on."
Yeah.
So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. But did you watch any of that? Did you see any of that promo?
I did. I did watch the promo whenever it was first came out on the YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and so from what I remember, like you said, you're gonna fly with me for just a
Oh
minute.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Jinder came out, and he said something about something, and it wasn't important, and then all of a sudden he was going on, and then finally Rock's music hits. He hams it up a little bit,
Talks about
and then
America.
yes, exactly. So this is the good old fashioned uh, US of A face versus the foreign heel. Classic WWF and
Yeah,
WWE.
that's right.
Yeah, this is a time honored tradition to have the naughty naughty foreigner talking ill of the greatest country in the world, of course. And Rock is now the patriot, right? I'm surprised he didn't have an American flag with him.
Dude, I
But
have to
anyway.
believe. I thought he was. I thought a flag was gonna be with him the whole time. I thought we were gonna hear, "I am a real American." I was
Whoa,
like,
whoa, whoa. Has Rock, is he slowly evolving
he's going into
into
full
Hogan?
full
Hollywood
brother.
Rock is going to be Hollywood Hogan
Let's
soon.
go, brother. Like
Yeah.
it's a bit baffling. But it was a little bit of a weird promo. Not gonna lie, I know we talked about it a little bit together.
A
when it
little
happened.
awkward.
It was a bit awkward to hear The Rock cut a America babyface type promo when he's never had that gimmick ever in his career. And farthest thing
Did,
from him at all times.
I think he also mention like San Diego or something. It's
He
like,
did.
yeah, I was out in San Diego like eating a sandwich, and then I decided, hey, I'm gonna stop by WWE Raw
Yeah.
and say hi to the people.
Yeah, he did randomly just cut a promo with San Diego in mind. I was like, all right, well, I guess play to the crowd, smart man, I guess. That's
Yeah.
typical Rock. So, but yeah, so Rock cut his babyface America promo. Jinder was he kind of did a pretty good job standing up against The Rock. I give him credit, and then of course he decided to pick a fight with The Rock, and we got to see the classic, the. Get a little bit of a couple punches, and then came back. The comeback, we got to see the people's elbow, and I don't know if you noticed, but The Rock's belt actually busted, like it broke
Whoa.
off of his pants. So
Whoa.
you can see him in the video if you go back and watch it. Truly,
He's really hulking up.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's so big. The Rock is just so freakishly large these days that his belt ripped off his pants, and he just threw it at Jinder. I was dying. I was like, oh, this man is way too buff.
His contours are actually literally physically becoming a boulder of some sort.
Just a rock comes out. The Rock's music plays in a boulder.
Rock.
Just a boulder
just
rolls.
raw, big boulder.
Oh,
What a nice boulder.
Rey Mysterio stuff right there. get the Flintstones out here.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, and then of course we ended that promo with the classic, hey San Diego, I'm gonna get something to eat here. Should I go to should I go here? And they're like, and he's like, should I go to a bar? And he's going to get drinks, and he's like, can I go here? And he's like, yeah, and he's like, can I go to a bar? And everyone cheers, and he's like, yeah, The Rock loves a good bar. And then he goes, or should I sit at the head of the table? And everyone pops off, and obviously
Right. That was the reason why he came out, right?
Exactly. That was literally the reason they probably brought him there, was to cut that one line, that final promo at the end to kind of tease that they're pushing finally towards that matchup of him and Roman, which we'll talk about a little bit later here, but we'll bring that up a bit later. But yeah, so that was big in the news. My mom in the chat was bringing up some other stuff she was mentioning, and I know we touched upon it before going live here. A big thing is The Rock. Just keeping on the topic of The Rock, he is officially a board member on the TKO board for Endeavor with WWE, which is, kind of wild. It's like, he's in so much. He owns stuff. He's, Hollywood movies, and now he's a board member on TKO, the new company that acquired WWE. And, it's funny, there's a picture, I'll have to find it and try to send it to you, but it's a picture of him on Wall Street with Vince McMahon, and all people said was Vince shaved his mustache. I was like, oh.
That's the big news.
Yeah,
he had that strange looking sort of like John Waters-esque.
He did.
Going on.
He did. That's a good way to compare it, is John Waters. Oh, I love that. Yeah, it was weird. But yeah, The Rock did... he did appear at the Wall Street, and he's a board member. I didn't see too much of what he talked about. I do need to go watch the interview and see. I think it was like on NBC that they had him chatting about it and stuff. So Rock's doing a lot of stuff, man. Rock's he's a busy guy. It looks like he's kind of trying to make a lot more time for wrestling, I guess. So, which is very interesting. Interesting. So
bigger. I think this might be. I don't want to sound insulting, but I definitely think he's a bigger draw in wrestling than he is in the films.
Oh, I know. I agree with you. I think he's a bigger draw in wrestling. I think, like, as of late, like, I think we've definitely talked about it in the past. I think if we had to rank, in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree with both of us, in my opinion, and I think you'll agree with me on this. I don't know if we've fully chatted about it, but in wrestling, the stars who've transitioned from wrestling to Hollywood, I think if you had to rank them, I think easily at number 1 sits Batista. I think number 2 would probably be Cena, and number 3 would be Rock. And I say Cena because Cena had the Marine. That was his first outing, and it was what it is. It's an action, like just a stereotypical action, good guy movie, whatever. But later on, Cena finally came out with, like, he did a couple comedies here and there that were and then he finally did, his breakthrough to me was now him being Peacemaker. And, oh, it's so good. And so He's Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and then the TV show, which is coming out with season 2, I think next year is what's scheduled.
Very cool.
Because it's already been in production, and James Gunn's been, I think they're almost wrapped on filming, so which is great. So yeah, I think Cena's done a great job of finally coming into his own and acting. And I just think Batista is like, in my opinion, leagues above The Rock and Cena. Just from his movie, just everything he's done from Bond to Avengers to Guardians, it's like, man's been in so much lately. It's like he's been in all kinds of things. So
Yeah, you might be right about that, sir. The Rock, though, he was the first one that when he was in a movie, he wasn't playing like a wrestler type.
mhm.
Although I have to say, um, I mean, they're always like tough guys, right?
Right.
Usually.
Hmm.
So they get hired for their physique. And one thing I guess Batista, who's kind of buffed down, The Rock is like we mentioned, he's buffed up considerably. He's
Yeah,
just, he looks like you know, some sort of military weapon of some sort.
he does, dude.
They're
He
doing
does.
tests on him, and you just imagine. But yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
I just think, yeah, it's just like yeah, it's funny because The Rock actually did mention that. So there was a time I watched some interview or something where he said it was when he was transitioning from wrestling to Hollywood for the first time, when he did like Scorpion King and stuff like that, that he kind of like he he was like, I need to downsize, like I need to get smaller and trimmer, like not be as buff and big and beefy. And he said he was in like the some of the best shape of his life, because remember he came back after he did like Scorpion King, he did Walking Tall, he did
Yeah.
The Rundown with Sean William Scott and whatever, and he came back after that and he was really trim. Like, I mean, it was when like that 2003 to 4 era, he was very slim, and like when he
Yeah.
was fighting Austin and Brock Lesnar and shit, he wasn't like super buff. But then you realize, like, I guess he said it and he's like, oh, but people want that, like that big build. Like he's like, I got to beef back up again, and he got his body into this freakish shape that he's in now, where he's like a
Yeah.
monster. And he's in like all the Fast and Furious movies, and I mean, he has a long list of movies he's in, but they're not great movies. They're all really black at best. Like, they're not like, I'm not like, oh
They're
my god, I need to
B
see this.
movies
They're
for the
very
most
B.
part.
Yeah, very B. Absolutely.
I guess he had, what was he? He was like in Moana though, so he got
Yes.
Pixar
He did have a,
credit, which is pretty.
yeah. That's
And I think that was probably one of the last like decent Pixar
Yeah,
films.
I agree. That was definitely one of his that last decent Pixar, and like probably one of his last good roles. Like, honestly, like where it was good outing for him. But even Batista too. I know he was in the M Night Shyamalan movie, the that was out not long ago, the Knock at the Cabin.
Oh,
Um,
okay, I didn't see that one.
it's on Peacock. It's cool. Like, it's not a bad Shyamalan film. Like, it's not like one of his other like abysmal outings, but it's worth a watch. Like, I would definitely give it a watch, and see what you think. There's a lot of religious context in it, like religious like references in it. Like,
Hmm.
it's interesting. So I would check it out. It's not a long watch, but it's interesting. So yeah, that's as far as the transition from Hollywood to wrestler to Hollywood and back. I think that's my personal order of the top three. I don't know anyone else who's planning to make that transition. Maybe Roman someday. So I could,
Yeah, who
I,
knows?
I don't know. So, but yeah, so that's a bit about The Rock and all of his and stuff going on. But the other big news in the world of wrestling is, I know I kind of mentioned this briefly, is that, and I know my mom actually put this in the chat, is Raw is going to be live streaming on Netflix in 2025, a $5 billion deal at 10 years. $5 billion at 10 years. Now, some of the facts here, like, and I was just catching this on looks like the New York Times. I was reading some of the articles on this. It's a 10-year agreement. Let's see, multi-billion-dollar 10-year deal, exclusive rights. Let's see. Next January it'll be starting. Is when they're gonna start this. It's gonna, let's see when it's. I know they said it's gonna be streaming. Let's see. The agreement will cost Netflix more than $5 billion and last for 10 years, with an option to extend an additional 10 or opt out after 5, which is interesting. Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see. I think it's also, this is gonna be over, like, it's gonna be streaming in multiple countries too. So it's not like it's just strictly to the U.S. Netflix. It'll be over in UK. Um, it'll be UK Netflix, Canada, uh, U.S. whatever, and
Yeah.
a few other major areas in the world. So that this will be streaming live. So big news, man. Big news. WWE, they're doing hot. That's
It's
crazy.
so strange to me actually to hear that. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah. Well, tell me about it.
bizarre.
Tell me about it, because I know I'm sure it's gonna be a little weird. Tell me about it. What's your feelings on it? What's
Well,
your feelings?
well, the thing about, I guess, the product, if you
Mm-hmm.
remember, like back in the day, we tune in and you turn on Monday Night Raw, and there'd be all of these oddball commercials.
Mm-hmm.
But they were fun though, like you had the Chef Boyardee and
Right.
the Stacker 2, and like
Stacker
you
too.
like
Yeah.
you could put on any of these, and they're just a blast to watch. They're just bizarre, but
Mm-hmm.
they're classic, and even
Yeah.
like the pay-per-view commercials they had and everything. So they had the whoever they were catering to, at least in like the late '90s and early 2000s, and perhaps prior, was of course, which is the nature of television, is you have to appease your sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have Netflix in the mix, and then Netflix, it's like, I don't want to say it's Wild West, really, but it's just there's so much stuff out there
Yeah.
that it's almost there is a lot of creative freedom, and so you just have to think, like, where would they go as far as like their product? Would they kind of keep it on the similar like PG sort of level, or you know it's hard to say because like I said, Netflix doesn't really have any gap on that sort of thing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where like what sort of uh creative decisions they make with Raw now,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, who knows? It's weird to me. It's always been a television thing for me. So to hear it going on like a streaming platform, and not only that, but like live on Netflix, I don't know of any other show that does like a live streaming on Netflix. So it
Yeah.
seems to be like new territory.
I could maybe yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Like I read it as live, but it could be maybe like they might be uploading it like the next day or something. Like I'm not 100%. Maybe I've misread that, but it made it seem like it was going to be a streamed live thing off of Netflix, which I thought was also very interesting. But who knows? Like, I mean, I'm sure more will be released when it gets a bit closer on like kind of like how it's going to work and what they're going to do. Because like right now, if you go to Peacock, you can watch the tapings of Raw on Peacock. They upload them there after like a certain couple of days or something like that, and you can rewatch.
Yeah.
Like if you missed Raw, then you can go back and rewatch it. And I mean, it goes far back. Like I'm talking, this goes back to the OG Raws, like way back in the original start of WWF. You can go
Oh,
watch.
sure.
You can go watch all that. I mean, I know, yeah, it's pretty
So is
great.
that
So,
going to be on Netflix now, or like what's the deal with the past Raws? Because you said
um,
they had exclusive rights to Raw, so does that mean they get all of the tapings, or no?
I would assume they're gonna get the tapings. I don't know if there's gonna be a change as far as like the Peacock and Netflix. Like I'm not quite. They haven't really
Yeah.
said anything about whether or not it's gonna change. Like you're gonna have to watch pay-per-views via Netflix now, not Peacock. So I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
that'll probably be upcoming news because I'm sure there's a lot of questions about that, like how that's gonna work with two streaming services, showing WWE content now, which would be very interesting. And I agree, it's a little weird. It's I don't know, I mean I think it's weird, but I think it's it's fantastic for WWE, and I'm happy for Triple H because it's like now that Vince is freaking gone from creative and has no control whatsoever anymore. It's like Triple H is just trying to really keep pushing WWE, keep growing the audience. I mean, the ratings every week, man, are just, I mean, they are just staggering. Like, they're definitely doing amazing ratings against AEW. It's, you know,
Hmm.
AEW is having a hard time, competing with
So I've heard.
Rampage and Dynamite and Collision are really, struggling. So, um, yeah. So, real quick, I just want to say we got a follow from Stone Cold Austin. Thank you for
Oh,
that. Stone Cold. So, thanks for the follow.
give me a heck yeah.
Heck yeah. It's like an LA Night mixture. Yeah.
Oh,
You're like, oh, God.
he's on the docket later, right? We have
Yeah, we'll talk
LA
about him
Knight.
later.
We have we have a little. We're gonna go over the match
Yeah, we're
card in
gonna
a
get
bit,
there.
right?
Yeah, we're gonna get there in a minute here. But yeah, so hell yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So, yeah, AEW. We can always talk about them. One of these days, we're gonna do a chat. I'd like to do a chat about WWE and AEW, just like a back to like kind of a a battle because it's been that war for a little bit now. So we'll talk about that and kind of hash about the stars over there, Tony Khan versus Triple H, all that stuff. So that'd be a fun talk. So we'll have to plan for that someday. But yes, let's transition now. Let us transition to the Royal Rumble. Let's transition. So we have coming up this weekend on Saturday the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble.
The Rimble?
The Royal Rumble, as Vince McMahon said once. The Royal Rumble. In one of the old days.
That sounds about right.
So yeah, this Saturday in Tampa, pretty much sold out. Really hyped Rumble. Tons of stories going into it, and I'll kind of touch on those with you here. Only 4 matches as of now on the card. We'll kind of go through them. What we'll do is we'll kind of start from the bottom and work our way into the main Rumble matches since those are a little bit deeper. So yeah, we'll start off. Let's start off with one of the first matches. I think will be one of the interesting matches on the card. I don't know if this will open the show, but probably in the middle, and that's gonna be Logan Paul, the U.S. champion, versus KO Kevin Owens. I don't know. I haven't really again. I don't watch SmackDown all the time, and I haven't kept up with a lot. I try to catch the highlights when I can on Twitter or people posting, the videos, WWE's channel posting the clips. I didn't see too much of this build, so I don't know what caused like their animosity. I know that there was a tournament that was held, and that's how Kevin earned his shot against Logan Paul. As far as that's all I know is that there was a big tournament to determine the number one contender, and KO beat Santos Escobar for a shot at the U.S. title. So, yeah. But what's your thoughts? Yeah. What's your thoughts on Logan Paul here, Mr. YouTube streamer, big time guy, Mr. Maverick?
Yeah. He's not one of my favorites still, I have to say.
That's fair. That's fair, man. Let me hear it. I want to hear it, man. Let me hear that. Let me hear that I dislike this asshole Logan Paul.
Well, yeah, he just seems like a douche.
You're
I
not
mean,
wrong. You're not
I
wrong.
think he's played up he's such a great heel in that regard because he
Yeah.
just basically is himself, but he's also talented, as we've kind of talked about before, for having just so few matches. He's kind of a natural pro wrestler, which is kudos to him. I'm not knocking him for that. There's many great wrestlers throughout the ages who are complete douchebags. Uh, Shawn Michaels comes to mind. And didn't Logan
Yeah.
Paul do like a Shawn Michaels style
He
entrance not
did
too long
at
ago?
WrestleMania. Actually, it was when I
Yeah,
was at in Hollywood.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, he did the kind of the glide off the whatever the
Yeah,
zip
gliding
line.
on the little zip
Yeah,
line
that's right.
there. All right,
Yeah,
so Mr. Zipliner, uh,
Master
because
zip
the
liner.
first time I heard about Logan Paul is that whole thing where he went into the forest in Japan.
Yep.
And so it's just like, whoa, what kind of sociopath is this? I mean, I'm not saying that's a legitimate diagnosis, but come on, if you go into a forest like that, no one who forgets that. Like that to me is like so telling of your character. So the guy just seems like I don't know, like I would not trust him if I was like in a, if we were on the boat was going down. It's like women and children first. I think he'd be way out there paddling away. So
I'm sorry, that's so funny to me. It's like, yeah, I mean, you're probably not wrong, but I know I love this. I love hearing this passionate like dislike of Logan Paul.
oh, this is true heat. But
This is
to be
true heat.
honest, he's not alone. I think he's
Oh
very
no.
I think he's like a good representative of kind of like you said, like the YouTube generation,
Yeah.
just sort of like every because maybe he's expressing it more clearly than anybody else,
Mhm.
but just like this sort of this egocentric, sort of pompous and kind of like fearless attitude people have, at least behind a computer screen or a phone,
Right.
he kind of embodies it, and so he's sort of like an idol of the online social media generation, I feel, and so that's why I enjoy it. I would enjoy to see his ass get kicked.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and Kevin Owens to me seems like more of a representative of like the good old boys of an old school generation, where he's sort of like keeping up the mantle of some old school mentalities. I think he does a good job at like keeping kayfabe alive, while Logan Paul to me is a guy that seems to blur the lines too much and talk too much about, behind the scenes stuff and like everything where like there was a he was wrestling Rey Mysterio, and he had a bit of a, I guess Mysterio had a bit of a botch, and everyone
Yeah.
was talking about how he saved him and stuff. I'm like, that's very well and good, but as part of the wrestling story, you don't say that. He's trying to beat Rey Mysterio. If he fell on his neck, well, it seems like that would have been against that would be in his favor. So don't say you're trying to save the guy if you're wrestling him
Right. No, I feel you. Yeah,
outside of the, you know what I mean,
yeah.
outside of the ring. So I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not saying as strict as a guy like Jim Cornette in that
Right.
regard,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and I think
Corny baby.
Cornette likes him, doesn't he?
Cornette does love him.
But
Yeah. Cornette's like a big fan of his work.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a mark for
More Logie.
Logan.
No, no, I
So
love that. Hearing that.
hoping KO gets the KO.
Okay, okay. So you're going for KO on this one. I like that. Before I give you my thoughts, I just want to say, my buddy Austin, he said, the NFL, NBA, and all other sports will probably be watching this closely to see how it all works out. NFL has already started putting things exclusively on Prime and Peacock. So if they see big money, it would be interesting if we see these sports going to exclusive streaming deals in the next 10 years. Could kick off a new way that we watch sports. Just kind of referencing back to our talk about Netflix there and Peacock, how that'll play out. So I guess if this deal with Netflix works, we'll see how things go for sports as a whole. But yeah, my thoughts. I do think I think Logan is an asshole. Like I don't care for the guy. I do think he's a prick, and I think for someone to go into the forest and do what he did, that's what kind of made him famous, unfortunately. And because so many people saw that. Was it fucked up? Absolutely. Was it really stupid? Yes. I don't like the guy. I think he definitely probably has a real douchey personality in real life to be around. But I commend his overall, like his work rate in the ring. I'm pretty impressed for someone who's so new. I know him and his brother are both athletes, and I mean, I am very impressed of how he has taken to the business already, as far as like the way he sells, the way he takes moves, the delivery of his moves. Like he's doing some moves better than some people who've been there forever.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Which is like very impressive to me. So I mean, like I can see the hate, and I could against him. He is a good heat magnet. He definitely is a good heel, and he should stay a heel. I think that's a good rule for him. I don't think he should ever try to turn babyface. I think he's just like a great heel for WWE to have in their pocket always. To be that kind of dickhead to come out and stir the crowd. Like you said about KO, yeah, I totally agree. I think KO is representative of like that old style. He definitely keeps kayfabe. I've always liked Kevin Owens. He's always been an enjoyable like wrestler to watch. He sells great. He's always out there giving it, busting his ass, taking moves like a boss. Man, that dude has a pain threshold that I couldn't even imagine. I think my prediction, I think that Logan is going to retain via shenanigans of some sort. I feel like there is going to be some sort of shenanigans in play. I want KO to win. I really do. But my thought is that Logan's going to keep this belt and retain it at least until Mania. But we will see. Yeah, and we'll see. So even Stone Cold Austin in our chat, Logan will win and get a rematch at Elimination Chamber, which is held in Australia, which we can talk about. But yeah, so that's my prediction and my thoughts on both of these two. So interesting matchup. Let's move to our next matchup of the night. And we're going to cover, I'm going to just kind of put this out there. We'll cover the Rumble matches. We're going to cover, we're going to cover one of the Rumble matches now, actually. Let's do it. We'll cover the Women's Royal Rumble match, which in my opinion, I think will kick off the Rumble this year. I think because the last year the men's kicked off, which was surprising to me. I think this year the women will kick off the Royal Rumble pay per view. I think it'd be a good way to start the show. The crowd's going to be hot as hell. And there really hasn't been any announcing of what women are going to be in this. Now, I made a list of all those who I think will be in it.
Yeah. There's a short list. Huh?
It's, yeah, give me, actually, I am sorry. Give me just a second. I'm going to go grab something real quick. One second.
Oh, all right.
Hold on.
I'm holding. You have to learn when to hold them, folks, and learn when to fold them.
All right.
Are we back?
Okay. That's fast.
There we go.
So we're back. Anyways, so I had to get my thoughts because I actually put down a lot more names. I did forget to send you this, so this is on my fault. So I will read you the list of names that I have that I'm pretty sure are gonna. And this is all. There's only been a few people who have officially declared, and then the rest of these are names that I put down that are likely to be in the Rumble, and then I also have a list of potential entrants into the Women's Rumble. So I'll read these to you. So we got, our 4 people who have officially declared are Becky Lynch, Nia Jax, Bayley, Bianca Belair. Those are the 4 official entries into the Rumble. Now the rest of these on this list are ones that I kind of looked through WWE's roster and I figured probably they're going to be on the Rumble, because they've been featured heavily on the show, and 30 women, we need a lot of women. So the other ones I think are Valhalla, Lyra Valkyrie from NXT, Asuka, Ava, which is The Rock's, she's also NXT, The Rock's, I think, daughter, Chelsea Green, Gigi Dolan, NXT, Indy Hartwell, NXT, Ivy Nile, Kairi Sane, Mishin, Natalia, Nikki Cross, Nikita Lyons from NXT, Piper Niven, Roxanne Perez, NXT, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, Xia Li, Zelina Vega, and Zoe Stark. So those are all probably going to be in the Rumble. But the other potential thoughts that I had of people who could appear or return, either returning into the Rumble or appear, would be Alexa Bliss, Naomi, because she just left TNA, Carmella, Liv Morgan, Sonya Deville, Trish Stratus, and AJ Lee, CM Punk's wife.
Oh,
so, so that's the Rumble for the women. What are your thoughts on the Women's Rumble? So,
well, I just had one question.
Yeah.
What about that gal that jumped off the cage with the trash can on her head?
Oh, so Io Sky, she's the women's champion, so she's probably not going to be in.
Oh, okay.
So
I was going to say, because she when we watched the Survivor Series together, that was the highlight.
Oh, absolutely. It was amazing. That was one of the coolest spots in a long time, where she threw herself off the top in a trash. That was awesome. But no, she is, as of right now, Io Sky is not defending her title at the Rumble, nor is Rhea Ripley. So I don't know what the plan is. I mean, there's a big story with Damage Control, Io's group, which is Bayley, Kairi Sane, Asuka, Dakota Kai. There have been a lot of kind of tension between the group where they're going to toss out Bayley or get rid of Bayley. So it's very interesting. Maxine Dupree, Austin put that in there. She could make an appearance. She's a part of Alpha Academy with Chad Gable and Otis. But no, yeah, so Damage Control's having this really good storyline. I haven't kept up with it. I'm going to try to watch some of the highlights of it because apparently everyone's raving about the story between Bayley and Damage Control. So that's a big thing going into this Women's Rumble. As far as anything else, I'm not really 100% sure. I mean, AJ Lee, a lot of people are really speculating that because there was videos of her training in the ring again for a TV show that she was filming, and it showed her and Punk doing a workout in the ring, and she looks great. She's shredded. She's fucking ripped, and a good ripped. She has a freaking 8-pack. I'm like, Jesus. So people are like, oh my god, if she returns. And then Naomi just wrapped up her, and she dropped the TNA Women's title to Jordynne Grace, and said goodbye on TNA television, a couple weeks ago. So she's she's married to Jimmy Uso. So. And WWE, she left when Vince was in charge, but her and Sasha Banks, which is also a potential entry, Mercedes Moné, because she has her contract hasn't been renewed by anyone yet. There's been no word of they've been throwing money at her, but we don't know what the heck's going on with that. So there's some good potential surprises in this Rumble for women to come out. So
Yeah, it sounds like it. I haven't, to be honest, I have
no,
no
you're
idea.
good. No, you're
And
good.
there's a couple I'm like, okay, who do I think might be the one?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think to me, Becky Lynch always seemed like a good champion.
yeah.
So if it means that if you win the ladies Royal Rumble, you get a title shot at WrestleMania, is that correct?
That is, yeah, that is 100% correct. You get a shot at
So.
Mania. So
Well, I don't know. I guess any of them would do, but I think they'd want to have. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Becky Lynch. She wins it,
Becky, okay.
uh, and everyone else, they did a good job. They did a fine job, but I don't know them too well, so
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
good. No, no, not at all. It's that's what I'm here to help, kind of fill those blanks in and
Yes, thank
give you
you
some.
for it.
Oh, absolutely, give you that context. Another one is I forgot to mention, and I need to put her down. Is Jade Cargill? She came over from AEW. She was she was in AEW for a long time. I mean, she's beautiful. My God, Jade Cargill's stunning. She looks like a star. She's jacked. She's tall. Like she's like wow, like everything Vince wants.
Whoa,
You know.
that was a sound effect right there.
That's Vince. That's the Vince. Like, wow. So
Let,
that's
let me let me look her up here though. I might have seen this gal before.
she's yeah
Jade Cargill. Oh,
yeah
born in 1992.
yeah
Let's see. Oh, yes, I've seen her before. Yep, quite the physique.
yeah. She's built, man. Even Austin. It's been months since we've seen or heard Jade. She's got to make her debut here. And I agree. Like it's we've she kind of they teased her. Triple H teased Jade on like Raw, on SmackDown, and in NXT, and then she just disappeared. She never appeared. So he teased her, had a show off with Charlotte Flair, and blah blah blah, but nothing happened. So she just kind of vanished. And I think what they're doing, and I hope that's what they were doing, is she's been in the Performance Center training like crazy because she was never really in AEW. She was never a good wrestler. She was okay, mediocre at best. She had a Goldberg undefeated streak. I shit you not. She was like 80-0 for like her time there with the women's title. And
My
she was
goodness.
just they basically were kind of billing her as like a female Goldberg. And
That
she
checks.
and so she was like, she had this undefeated streak. She wasn't great in the ring, very awkward and kind of
Yeah.
clumsy here and there, but
Kind of like Goldberg.
exactly. Yeah. She really was limited in her moveset, and she really didn't have like a lot. She wasn't trained well in AEW. And then, she dropped her belt, and she got that one blemish, and that was like she left AEW. Her contract was up. She left, didn't renew with Tony Khan, and WWE pulled her up, and but she hasn't been seen. So I think what Triple H wants to do is they've been training her extensively in that Performance Center in Florida to have her prepared for this Rumble. So she's coming in. There's been videos that have surfaced of her online training with like Ricky Starks, which was really weird because he's in AEW. So yeah, it's strange to me, but he's he was there and a few others, and they were training her, and she looked good. Like she looked a lot smoother. They were doing like takedowns and hip tosses and all kinds of things. She looked very clean, like the way she was doing her reversals and counters. So I'm like, okay. So I'm very hopeful. If she appears at the Rumble, I don't think she'll win, but I think she needs to appear. One, I think she needs to show up. But I think the biggest thing is that I think having her face to face with Bianca Belair would be fucking amazing. I think having those two face off could set up a potential match at Mania, which would be great. I think those two could work well together, and it would just be fucking awesome because they're both built and jacked, and they can lift heavy things. So I think that'd be great. Becky, I love Becky. So Becky she recently called out Rhea Ripley. It was on Raw. She had a good promo she cut against Rhea, and just kind of saying, no, she's basically, I'm going to win the Rumble kind of deal. It was a solid promo coming for Rhea. They, they both came up from like nothing, how they started in NXT and they were kind of goofy gimmicks in the beginning, and then they changed their personas, and now they're like the biggest stars in women's wrestling for them. And so yeah, I mean, I like Becky's odds in this Rumble, but I kind of want to pull for Bayley. And I need to look into this damage control stuff, but I do love Bayley. and she's just such a chicken shit. But she's also like becoming a great face in this whole damage control thing. So from what I've seen, some of the clips I have seen, so I think
Okay.
she's been like really talking like she really wants to main event. She's never had a singles match at Mania in like the 8 years she's been with the company,
Oh
or like
wow.
something. So she's never had any singles matches at Mania, unlike Becky and Charlotte and stuff. So I'm gonna pull for Bailey on this one. That's who I'm gonna pick. I'm hoping she makes it through. We'll see. There could be a lot of surprises. Um, I was gonna say Charlotte. Obviously, I don't know if you know, but Charlotte is not in the Rumble. She's not even gonna make it to Mania this year because she suffered a terrible injury on SmackDown where she
Oh
tore her
no, I
like
didn't hear about that.
yeah, she tore her ACL, MCL, like all this stuff. It was really nasty. It was like,
Yikes.
yeah, it was a nasty fall. She was fighting Asuka, and they took a really nasty bump off the top. It was a really unnecessary bump off the top rope. It's not Asuka's fault. It was just a really stupid spot for both of them to do.
Yeah.
And the way she fell, it was just really awkward, and her leg just snapped off the top rope. It looked
Oof.
awful, man. Like it was brutal. And immediately she was like, my leg, like when she hit the mat. And yeah, she had surgery already. She's on the road to recovery, but the doctor said you're going to be out for 8 to 10 months, which is crazy. So yeah,
Damn.
unfortunately, no Charlotte for Mania 40. So yeah, that's the Women's Rumble, man. It's going to be a very
Wow.
interesting to see how it pans out. And yeah, we before we'll go into the next match here. We're gonna move on before we get to our main event of the evening. We're actually gonna move to another match. It's not our main event. We're gonna move to the Fatal Four Way match for our
Ooh.
WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, the head of the table, defends against the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, the leader of the Yeah movement, LA Knight, and then the Viper, the Legend Killer, Randy motherfucking Orton, the man himself. So this match, what's your thoughts, man? This is a really like crazy fucking match. I mean, the I'll give you a little bit of context. So the build for this matchup, they've been, originally it was going to be Orton, and then it kind of like they kind of threw in Styles and AJ and or LA Knight, and they kind of got in the mix. They wanted their revenge, and AJ wanted a match against Reigns, and Nick Aldis, who's the general manager, he put this together and made Reigns sign the deal, or if he didn't sign the deal, Reigns was like, I'm not going to sign it, and Paul Heyman was trying to talk for Reigns on SmackDown, and Aldis is like, all right, well, if Reigns doesn't sign it, then he's just going to vacate it, and we'll have a triple threat for the vacated Universal title. And Heyman turned around and was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on a minute. So, and Heyman's been the mouthpiece, been a great job building it up. Reigns has come out and he's had some, he's gotten into it. They fought. He's suffered a good RKO from Randy, which was a callback. This last SmackDown, Randy RKO'd everyone, and Randy was getting up. He got speared, and he was gonna get. I think he was gonna get a spear, and he turned it into an RKO, which is a throwback to the Royal Rumble in 2017 when Reigns got eliminated by Randy in the Rumble, and Randy won. When I was there, I was in San Antonio. I was at that Rumble. It was Reigns went for a spear. Randy countered into an RKO, picked him up, tossed him over, and won the Rumble in 2017. So it was kind of a callback. So there's just been a lot of heat, build up and like kind of back and forth talking and like a lot of fighting. Of course, Solo and Jimmy getting involved. Paul Heyman kind of conniving backstage with them, and So what's your thoughts on this Fatal Four? What are you thinking? What are you feeling on this one?
Uh, Well, here's what I have to say. Kayfabe me would be like, oh, here we got here. We got AJ, Roman, RKO, and LA Knight. Well, LA Knight, I know he's popular, but he doesn't really seem to me as being like the champ.
Yeah.
So then it comes down to the other three fellas, and for me, if I was watching this as a mark, I'd probably say that I would like Randy Orton to win
Okay.
because he's just he's quite a show stealer these days, and he's gets a big pop and rah rah rah. So, but I really think, of course, that Roman's track record shows he's going to retain. And I say this also thinking with the whole Rock head of the table deal that it would be a great WrestleMania main event to have him against Rock.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that would be it, but maybe
Okay.
that's not where they're going now. Because again, I haven't been following, but once
Yeah,
I
yeah,
heard Rock was like Roman, because I don't know, maybe you could have a good old fashioned Samoan showdown.
yeah.
So anyway, for me, it's Roman's going to retain, and it could be a nice little fight with a few twists and turns, a couple RKO's here and there, and I don't know what LA Knight's finisher is, but
It's like a kind of like
maybe.
a little like it's like almost like a face planter kind of deal, like kind of like similar to Miz, I guess, almost.
No. Oh, all right. So maybe one or two of those,
A
and
little bit one or two of those. Yeah, 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 a little bit. Yeah. I'm thinking of the one or two of those and the
eh,
RKO's and
yeah, and then Paul Heyman will be there, and he'll say his thing.
yeah. My name is Paul Heyman. I don't
Love
think he
Paul
does that
Heyman.
anymore. Yeah,
Love
I don't,
Paul Heyman.
he doesn't do that anymore. He's more just like fucking groveling at
He's just
Roman's
there.
feet. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
funny.
which is a great character.
Oh,
I
he's
love it.
awesome. He's so great. So no, I love that, man. I love that. I'll say so. Austin in the chat, he says Roman will win. Unfortunately, I got my Bloodline shirt on. I'll be wearing that on Saturday. So LA Knight and AJ will fall to the wayside. I think it's mainly be Randy versus Roman match. No chance Roman is dropping anywhere but WrestleMania. Could be the first
Hmm.
legit Roman win without interference if AJ and LA Knight fend them off. Okay, so here's
There
my
you go.
take. Here's my take on the match. I think so. There's been obviously, and these are not from my direct brain. This is some of it's from my brain, but some of these are I've just been seeing these floating. I know Austin has seen these too. These have been floating around Reddit, Twitter, whatever. Some people were
Yeah.
saying and suggesting that yeah, Randy will be the one to finally dethrone Reigns here at the Rumble, being that they would set up Cody Rhodes versus Randy at WrestleMania main event because it would be like him finishing the story against his legacy, the person who brought him in the legacy and this and that. Interesting match. I don't think it's
Nah.
the match that you want to see in the main event of Mania, in my opinion. I think it's a great thought. Like I think it's a good story. I think it could definitely be down the road, like if Reigns drops at Mania, but I truly think that it needs to be, Reigns retaining here.
Yeah.
And I hope that if Reigns retains at this pay per view, I hope that it's a clean finish. I think he needs to have a clean, not enough with the like interference from Jimmy and Solo. I think that there's a way to do this. There's no need to have interference because it's a fatal four way.
No.
You can have shenanigans, like you can have the fatal four way. There's no need for interference outside. I
Yeah.
think you can easily end this match clean.
Yeah.
So I mean, whether we see multiple RKO's, LA Knight's finisher, or some Styles clashes, whatever, phenomenal forearms, whatever, we just need to, there could be twists and turns. There could be some really close calls. But definitely Roman needs to pin someone clean.
Yeah.
I don't know who should take the pin here. Maybe LA Knight again, but maybe not. Maybe Styles could take the pin, I think, in this one and let LA Knight walk away from this one, not taking it this time. Keep Randy strong and don't let him take the pin. But yeah, I think Reigns needs to retain, and I think he definitely, as Austin said too, he needs to walk into Mania. You're having this reign as long as he's had it, and I'll just say one thing real quick is that I know you have a thought there. Um, Reigns, and people are saying this online. I've been reading this, and I don't know. People are obviously like, oh, Reigns he's never on TV, and he defends once every blue moon. I'm like, okay. Well, I'm like, but like if you look at his defenses of everyone he's had a defense against, like in his 1,000+ day reign that they're pushing for, and you look at like people like Hogan, Hogan's record is past Mania. If Reigns holds his belt past Mania, they're gonna have him beat Hogan's, which is like I think would be until SummerSlam, almost close to it, and he would officially be the longest holder, of course, besides Bruno Sammartino. But Hogan, if you look at Hogan's like record, even though Hogan had a long record as a champion, a majority of his matches were against jobbers. Okay, it's like
Hmm.
a lot of those were
Hmm.
jobbers. They were not big name people. Reigns has
Yeah.
beaten Lesnar. He's beaten fucking Goldberg. He's beaten fucking Bray Wyatt. He's beaten, like tons of big people. And it's like, it may have been over spans like Drew McIntyre, Sheamus. Like, it may have been over spans of time, but like, and months and this and that. But it's like, at least when Reigns is out there now, it's like, you want to fucking watch. Like, they've built him to
Yeah.
this like big final boss heel character where it's like, he's cool. He's got a cool entrance. Like, you want to see this match, how it's going to pan out. Will he lose? Like, it's like this big, holy shit. He's the ultimate pedestal for people to beat now at this point. Like, someone's got to put him down and end this head to the table reign like of terror. So I think it's been a fun reign. Like I'm very enjoying. Like it is interesting, and I am a bloodline mark for sure. Like I'll admit that, but like, and I've been enjoying the story, and I can see like this needs to go to. I think this story needs to end though at Mania, in my opinion. But yeah. But what's your thoughts? You had a thought though. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just thinking you could have like a count out for all three and Roman climbs into the ring or something.
There you go. See, that could be cool. Like yeah, like they're all like laid out in the end, like out somewhere, and they got like something crazy happens, right? And
Yeah.
then Roman somehow he breaks the count, like he's the one that gets in at the 10 count before the 10 count. That'd be kind of interesting. That'd be a very unique finish because it's something you don't see often in a fatal four way, especially. Not a clean pin, but like he is the surviving member to get back in the ring and drag his body.
All put on a great fight, but he just managed to squeeze a little bit in.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good one, man. I like that. That's a good finish. If that happens, there will be a hole in your wall, Dylan. Oh shit. Stone Cold Austin said. But yeah, so that's my thoughts. I think we both agree Reigns will retain, and yeah, it'll be a interesting way to see how this finishes. So, okay, well let's move to our main event of the evening. So the main event, our men's Royal Rumble match. So here's the big one. So let me read to you. I added names, of course, because I forgot to send you this. So I'll read you the names that were declared. And then I'll read you the ones that I put down as probably going to be in the Rumble. And then the potential entries or surprises. And I have a surprise for you that I didn't tell you earlier. So I can see your initial reaction of what the fuck is this bullshit. Okay, so in the men's Rumble, we have Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, Chad Gable, Bronson Reed, Gunther, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, Baron Corbin, Pete Dunne, Dominic Mysterio. I put KO, but that's a potential. Karrion Kross, Kofi Kingston, Montez Ford, R-Truth, Ricochet, Santos Escobar, and Solo Sikoa. And those are all that I think will probably be in the Rumble, aside from the top 6 people who were officially declared, or 6 or 7 people who declared already. Like I think it was all the way down to about Gunther, and that's where it kind of like there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people declared official. The rest of those were I think will probably be in it. The potential entries now. Here's your potential list of surprises. Brock Lesnar,
Okay.
Matt Cardona, Braun Breaker from NXT, Omos Sapiens.
Yeah, okay.
Sami Zayn, because he's not official.
Right.
Shane McMahon.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Sheamus. Andrade El Idolo from AEW. Of course, The Rock.
Yeah.
And the big surprise, who said he's got one more match left in him? Hulk Hogan. Brother. He said he's got one match left in an interview a couple days ago. I shit you not. And he's like hinting at the Rumble. I'm like, oh my God. If he appears, I'll fucking shit myself of laughter. We're going to fucking die. So, and I would like to mention that Stone Cold is also a potential surprise because people keep saying that there's like a lot of him talking like he might appear in it, but we'll see. But yeah, the Hulk Hogan one, man, I was crying when I saw that. The video of him announcing, I got one more left in me, brother. I said, oh no, Jesus.
Yeah. No, that would, I don't know, Dylan. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I was, again, maybe this wouldn't work because you're saying you wanted Roman to lose at Mania, or at least that seems like that would wrap up the story.
That would wrap up the story, yeah.
I was thinking though, wasn't that what they're kind of aiming for though, to have Roman versus Rock, or no?
So here's the thoughts. So there's a lot of, and I'll just read you this quick comment. There's Austin said they showed a graphic on Raw of back-to-back winners, and Stone Cold and Hulk Hogan's names were highlighted. He put Hulk Hogan versus Roman at WrestleMania. Book it, brother. Oh my God. So There's a ton of stories heading into this Rumble, which is why this is so exciting. Like I
Hmm.
haven't been this hyped about a Rumble match in a long time, just because there's so many really interesting, unique stories going in. So Cody Rhodes and Punk just had a face off yesterday on Raw, and it was a great promo they cut back and forth. I'll have to send it to you after we're off here today. You can watch it. It was pretty good. It was the fans were so loud. It was so divided. People chanting Punk and Cody, and it was amazing. Their promos were
Yeah.
fantastic. So that was great to see. And then Drew McIntyre. I mean, he's been finally getting something, and he's doing good heel work, and he's cutting good promos. He cut a great promo on Punk, and him and Punk had a good back and forth banter. Him and Cody had back and forth, and he was like, he said to Cody, I want you to finish your story, but it's gonna have to wait until I finish mine. And I was like, oh shit, I love this. So it's like he's gunning for Cody, and then Punk was like, don't worry, Drew, I'll make sure when I come in, I'll eliminate you first. Or
No.
he's like, I'll eliminate you last or something like that, which means he's gonna eliminate him first. And I was like, I mean, in this, so there's like a lot of people back and forth, and there was Gunther came out, interrupted Cody Rhodes, and he was
Hmm.
talking, he's gonna have to go through you, and I'm gonna have to cut your story short and stuff, and he's gonna challenge Rollins at Mania, and he talked to Rollins about that. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, you got Gunther, you got all them, and then you got the looming of The Rock potentially appearing.
Yeah.
So the rumors are, and here's the rumors around the movie. I'll just tell you how I feel about the Rumble right now. How I feel it should go or booked.
Hmm.
I think that it's just on my fresh in my head, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. Is that I think Cody Rhodes and Punk should kick off number 1 and 2 spots. Either
Hmm.
I think Cody should be number 1, no doubt. Like I think he needs to be number 1 because he was number 30 last year. He can't be 30 again. I think Cody has to fight hard. He wants this story to finish. He needs to be number 1 and has to claw his way to the end and fight to get to the end of that. I think if number 2 isn't Punk, I think it should be Gunther, who started the Rumble out last year. Um, I think, Punk, I'm not sure where you could put him in the Rumble. I don't think he should be 30. Maybe he could be, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure. The rumor is people think The Rock might be number 30, um, which it could be, that could be a great surprise. I think that's a great surprise, but I don't think The Rock should win the Rumble because
Hmm.
I do not want The Rock to fight Reigns for the title. I want the
Hmm.
title to not be on the line at all. Like I want their that's the
That's
problem.
yeah.
That's the problem I have with that match is like I want to see it really bad, but I don't want it to be no title. I just want it to be for
Yeah.
who is the head of the table. It makes it
Yeah.
more ambiguous. It makes you not like, okay, if Roman has the title, they're not going to give it to The Rock. Like, no
No.
fucking
No.
way. And so
No. No.
I think like, yeah, I don't know how they could book this. But I just think that really Cody needs to be one. My hard guess is Cody is going to be number 1. I don't know who number
Yeah.
2 will be, but I'm guessing Cody is 1. And my personal pick for the Rumble to win, I'm gonna say it's gonna be CM Punk. I'm gonna say that Punk is gonna clutch it and finally get his long-awaited main event.
Punk versus Reigns. Huh?
Not Punk versus Reigns. I think it's gonna be Punk versus Rollins. I think they've been teasing Punk versus Seth Rollins because of Survivor Series. Remember when Rollins was like flicking him off and he's like, "I hate you." Did you see that video?
That would make more sense. I was
Yeah.
just thinking the winner of the Rumble gets the title shot, right? Or no?
Well,
Is
yeah,
that not
well,
the
yeah. Remember,
stipulation?
they get to pick who they want to fight, though.
Oh, they get to pick. Okay,
Yeah. They get to
gotcha.
pick if they want to fight Rollins or Reigns. So obviously, I think like Reigns or Rollins because there's so much hate between him and Punk that's such a good story already.
You're right.
As
That would
is,
be a
so.
good match.
Yeah, those two could put on
Rollins and
a good main event together. So they could be main eventing night 1, and then prediction would be maybe Cody Rhodes goes to Elimination Chamber and earns his spot to fight Reigns. But again, there's rumors everywhere, and people are saying, well, what if it's The Rock, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns in a triple threat main event night 2?
oh,
I mean,
okay.
I thought that's an interesting thought. I like it. I don't really. I just want to see. I would love to just see The Rock against Reigns. Period. Like I don't really
Yeah.
get.
No title on the line.
Yeah, I just don't give it. Even if the title was on the line in that triple threat match, that's fine. But I just believe that like my biggest fear is that The Rock. The last time we saw The Rock in WrestleMania, and sorry, I was gonna say real quick shout out. Hey, what's up, June baby? What's up, Heather? Um, I was gonna say The Rock. The last time we saw him fighting was at WrestleMania 29 against Cena, and he tore his quads and his abdomen. So
Oh yeah.
he's very injury prone at his age and how big he
Yeah.
is. I mean, he's
Yeah.
not getting any younger. He's in his 50s, I think, and
You don't
he's
think he could put on a good match?
I don't I worry. Like I love him and he's still moving good from what we saw. I mean, okay, I'll let me say loosely. When he did, he took Jinder down for a spine buster and he was breathing pretty heavy. So I'm hoping like, you know, he was kind of gasping for air after that. I'm like yeah, I was like, "Uh-oh." Like I worry because it's like yes, he's a star and a half. I mean, he's a fucking megastar, and people obviously
Yeah.
want to see him. And I love The Rock, I always will. But it's like, dude, like I don't know if he could put on a good one-on-one at this point right now against Reigns. Like, and I don't know if Reigns could. I mean, Reigns could carry him, but
That's right.
if they had a triple threat, it would be an even better carry for Rock. Like it would be he could do his moves, he can do his thing, he can have a good showdown with Cody, he can have his face off with Reigns.
And he could have a breather.
He can have breathe. Yeah, he can have moments to breathe and catch his breath and hopefully not hurt himself because that would be just catastrophic. If he gets hurt before Mania, I'm sure that would fuck a lot of
Ooh.
plans up. So,
Sure, sure.
that's kind of like my
I see what you're
thoughts.
saying there. No, of course, that's obviously in the back of your mind when you're dealing with like a 50-year-old
Right.
wrestler.
Yeah.
Especially like you said, a guy of his size. And yeah, I did remember that he tore a few muscles when he wrestled Cena, not like 10 years back.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
So
was scary. I mean, he somehow made it through that match because he's a fucking freak athlete. But yeah, he was in so much pain. He said after, and we haven't seen him in the ring wrestle a full match since. So it's
yeah, no, I guess it's always a bit of a risk, but that's part of wrestling in
yeah,
general.
you're right. Absolutely.
Um,
So, what's your
it's
thoughts?
good.
Talk to me. Let me hear your thoughts about everything. What you're thinking of this?
Uh, I'll be honest, I'd really like to see Rock one-on-one with Roman.
Okay, no, I love that. I
I'm
mean,
not
yeah,
I can totally become a mark for the at that moment because The Rock's my childhood, man. Like
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
loved The Rock.
Of
Come on.
course, yeah,
Him and Stone Cold, that's all you needed.
yeah,
And everyone else was a supporting character. So for him to come back, it's like it kind of like transports you back a bit.
yeah.
So with any other storyline or whatever, it doesn't really matter. And he still looks good. That's
True.
the secret to wrestling. You still look good. You can still sell
Yeah,
your strength. He's still extremely charismatic. He's still a great talker, even with that weird kind of rah 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 America jingoistic promo we had.
yeah,
Um, so it's just one of those things where I think him, being in that family with Roman and everything, it's just
yeah,
that seems just to be like the natural thing to do. And everybody else, that you can have a hundred different combinations,
yeah,
with Gunther or Road Cody and everyone else in between. It seems like the sky's the limit.
yeah.
But for me, it's like you have to have the Samoans. So anyway, and maybe put Rikishi in the mix too, and then we have ourselves a
Oh
real
man,
showdown.
that would be cool, actually, man. Like, I hope he does return. I mean, it'd be really interesting to see him get involved. I mean, he hasn't been involved at all, and I'm like, how have they not reached
Yeah.
out to him in this Bloodline saga? It's been like, he'd be perfect. Like, get him in there to
Yeah.
like try to diffuse tension or something, man. Like anything. So, but who's your
Get a stink
pick?
face in there. Come on.
Oh no! Oh god! Who's your pick to win this Sunday or this Saturday? You
Uh,
gonna go with Dwayne? You going with the boy Dwayne?
I am going with Dwayne.
Hey! Okay, all right. So yeah.
Oh wait. I'm gonna throw something really random out.
Okay.
You said Solo Sokoa, right?
Yeah, he's the bloodline.
Solo Solo Sokoa is it, and then he wins it, and then you have a triple threat with him and The Rock and Roman.
Oh, a Samoan dynasty. Who's the true head of
There
this
you go.
table? Oh,
There you
dude,
go.
imagine. That would
And
be a.
Rikishi at ringside, and then he delivers the stink face somewhere in the middle of that
And
whole
Scotty Too Hottie shows up
thing.
and does the worm.
I guess you'll have to call in the cavalry, right?
That's right. That's right.
Cavalry.
Yeah, you have to call him Too Cool. Mine, with sadly no Brian Christopher. So, R.I.P.
Well, you could have the king come out.
Oh yeah, we could have King, or we could have we can get Steve Blackman come out and help. He
That's
did it once.
right.
He did
That's
it once.
right. Steve Blackman. Come on. Here we go. Here we go. Now we're booking.
Oh, I did want to tell you too, but no, I like your pick. I like your picks. I will say I agree with you too. Was it Solo? I think will wind up betraying Roman at some point. Oh, Austin said that. I
Sure.
think that's absolutely possible for sure. I think the Bloodline will eventually collapse at some point altogether. But I was just gonna say to your point, Sam. I was like, I agree. Like, Rock was our childhood. I grew up with him in Austin. And it's like anytime he comes back. I mean, it was the same feeling I had. Man, I told you when I was back in college at WrestleMania 28. I mean whenever that moment when Cena and Rock were fighting at Mania, I mean, I had chills. I hadn't watched wrestling in a while, but when I heard that match was taking place, I had to see it. Like, I was like, this is my childhood on the line. Like, The Rock coming back after years away from the ring and fighting Cena, the guy I really fucking hated at the time. And so it was like everything I didn't want about wrestling. And when The Rock, and that match was just amazing. And when he won, I was like elated. And it kind of sparked my interest back into wrestling again, was seeing that feud. And it was special to me. So it's like, I agree with you. Like, I just worry. I love The Rock. I don't want him to get hurt. I'd love the one-on-one match would be amazing. It's something that's been talked about for years. It's like a decade in the making. Like, people have been wanting to see these two fight for a long time. I would love to see it. I mean, it would sell tickets like crazy for Mania. It would probably sell that venue out. It's Philadelphia. I mean, it's almost close to sold out now, but it would virtually be completely sold out if they announced that, okay, it's going to be who's the true head of the table. Rock versus Roman, main event night 2, the fucking place would go apeshit. Because, I mean, they would probably both have amazing entrances. But I would say The Rock needs to come out with his Hollywood entrance. Get that Hollywood music, baby. That's what we need. But yeah, man, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be an exciting weekend. I hope you watch. I hope you're able to tune in Hong Kong and see some of it. We'll be watching. I'm having a party on Saturday. A lot of people coming over. We're going to be doing some side bets on the matches. We're gonna actually do some dollar money bets on it, so it'll be a lot of fun. A lot of people coming out to check it out and watch it, so it's gonna be a good time. I'll be thinking about you, and we'll be we have the Rumble, and then we have Elimination Chamber. It's gonna be held in Perth, Australia, which is Rhea Ripley's, like, that's where she's at. So she'll be a fucking megastar over there when they go. And then WrestleMania in April, and we have a month of build up until Mania after Elimination Chamber. Which takes place, Mania takes place in Philadelphia at the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium. So 2 nights, man, and we have no idea yet. Obviously, what's going to go down. We have no idea who's in the Hall of Fame. A lot of speculation that Hall of Fame will be like Batista, Bray Wyatt, which I think is definitely going to happen. Paul Heyman, people are saying should go in at Philadelphia since that's where ECW, all that stuff. Which Paul Heyman's a fucking bona fide Hall of Famer and should be in there. No questions. But yeah, so we'll see. We have a lot of build, a lot of exciting things ahead for wrestling, and this is gonna be an exciting Rumble, man. I'm pumped. Like, I can't wait. I'm super excited for it, and there could be some great surprises. And yeah, I think this is gonna be, like I said, one of the best Rumbles in like the last couple years at least. So yeah,
the best since Drew Carey entered
and gets dumped out by Kane very gracefully,
Yeah.
and then Honky Tonk Man, comes
That's
out.
right.
I'm cool. I'm cocky. I'm bad, and gets clocked in the head with a guitar.
That was a great hockey dog impersonation. So.
Thank you. Hey, funny thing is, real quick, before we get going here, I was at a competition, like a Comic-Con style thing last weekend in Waco, Texas. It was like a gaming tournament, and I happened to be there. And, I was competing in Smash, and I was walking through the venue, and they had vendors and, all kinds of... They had some celebrities there, and I was like, oh, look at who they had here. I looked to my left. It was the Honky Tonk Man. It was actually the Honky Tonk. It was... And he had his get-up on. He had the fucking side of the hair. I was like, well, I'm cool. I'm cocky. I'm bad. And I was like, oh, shit. I wanted to go up and say that to him, but he probably looked at me like I'm fucking cracked out of my mind.
No. Great.
I was so nervous. I was like, he was sitting there by himself. I was like, oh shit, it's the Honky Tonk Man. I was gonna sing him his song, and I should have karaoke'd his song for him,
Oh, no, that's wonderful. And Waco, Texas.
Yeah, I was like, out of all the
Of
places, I
all the
said
places.
he must have lived in he must live in Texas because I'm like, what the fuck are
Mhm.
you doing in Waco, Texas? Like, it was the most random thing I've ever seen. My buddy was there too, and he was like, "Did you see Honky Tonk Man?" I'm like, "Yeah, what the hell, man? Why is he here?" So super weird, but I had to share that with you.
Brilliant.
So, but yeah, man. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. We're gonna wrap it up here. We're gonna get going, and it's been great. This Saturday, Royal Rumble. Tune in. Hope you can see it. I know a lot of people will be watching here. A lot of people will be texting me. I know I'll be keeping up with Twitter up until the Rumble. I don't know. There might be a match announced on Friday for SmackDown before the Rumble, so we'll see. See if anything else gets added. And yeah, it's gonna be great. So, um, until then, I'm gonna wrap it up. I am Dylan CTG,
Yeah, and I'm Chill Storm.
the man, the myth, the legend, my boy. So we'll see you guys. Until next time when we come back, we'll probably try to do either another wrestling and or if not a movie show review. So we'll do something else coming up in the future. And yeah, stay tuned. Take it easy, y'all.
Take care.
Bye.